What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing a beer from the Heavy Reel Brewing Company, and they're out of Seaside Heights, New Jersey, and this is their Luvv, the Fruity Flakes variant. So this is a sour ale with raspberry and cherry. It comes in at 5% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is because it does not have a can down date. However, I do know this is relatively fresh, and that's because this one showed up about 3 weeks ago at my favorite local bottle shop of choice, Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston, New York. So I know it's quite fresh. I would say probably no older than 2 months old, but probably in that 4 to 6 week realm. So I'm really excited about this one because it's been a couple years since I've reviewed something from Heavy Reel, and I got a little bit of story time. So if you want to get right into the review, skip forward a couple minutes. Otherwise, tell you about why I picked this one up and something cool that happened to me recently. So back in June, I attended the 2025 Rochester Real Beer Expo in downtown Rochester, New York at Innovative Field, and Heavy Reel was one of the breweries pouring there, and their owner Jeff was pouring their beer. So early on in the fest during the VIP session, I was perusing the fest, looking at what beers I wanted to try out, and I bumped into Jeff. Now I never met Jeff before, but he said, "Hey man, aren't you Joe from the Beer Patrol? You're friends with Matt over at Massive Beers?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "You loved our key lime pie beer." And I said, yes, I did. I actually gave it a 5 out of 5, and to date, I would say it's the best key lime pie beer I've had. I gave it a 5 out of 5, perfection, and exactly what I wanted. It was like someone took a key lime pie and stuffed it into a sour beer. Absolutely fantastic. And he's like, "Well, we're pouring that beer, but we kind of tweaked the recipe, so come by and get a pour of it." So later on, I did. And it was just as delicious as I remember it, despite the tweak. And Jeff was like, "We have to set you up with a care pack at some point." I said, "Don't worry about it. Just let me know when your beer shows up here in West New York. If I can get my hands on it, I'll grab a can or two and review it." So sure enough, he said that probably in the next week or two, you should see some in your area. And a week later, it wasn't even a week later, maybe less than a week later, Chris got his hands on some Heavy Reel stuff. So I picked this one up for obvious reasons. It's a sour beer. And the two beers I've reviewed on the channel from Heavy Reel, the aforementioned key lime pie, which was a part of, or is a part of this Luvv series. Along with that, I also reviewed their thick, the electric red sangria variant. It just tasted like carbonated Hawaiian punch. So they're 2 for 2 for sour beer. So I'm like, let's see if they can go 3 for 3. Now, based on this label, you can kind of, and the name, Fruity Flakes, right? They're going for Fruity Pebbles. Look at the label. You got Fruity Pebbles coming out of the bowl of milk on the spoon. I'm hoping it tastes well. Now, it just says it's brewed with raspberry and cherry, so I'm curious to see how they're going to get that kind of flavor profile with this raspberry and cherry, but I'm here for it. So it did say to gently roll off camera. I always do. I keep my heavily fruited beers upside down in my fridge, and then I do roll most of them before I pour, but I usually end up pouring the entire thing, so it's usually not a big deal anyway. So we're going to give it a pour here. I'm expecting, I was going to say like a bright red color, and sure enough, it is. Give it a nice hard pour here, because I know this head is going to just dissipate quite a bit. Oh, hang on. I'm cheating. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Those two cheats, this is going to be a fun one. For anybody who says this isn't beer or this isn't your jam, then probably don't want to watch this review because it's not going to probably taste like beer. But anyway, look at that beer. Now, a lot of times with these heavily fruited sours, the head doesn't last, which is why I poured it super aggressive, because I'm thinking it's going to dissipate. Nah, it's hanging around. That looks absolutely fantastic, exactly what I thought. So it has this bright red with a little bit of like a purplish tinge to it. On camera, it looks a little bit more red than it does in person, but very similar. Has almost about 2 to 2.5 fingers of this pink colored head. It has both huge bubbles and small bubbles, very frothy looking. And it's murky, it's turbid, you can't see through it. It's exactly what I would expect based on a beer named Fruity Flakes and trying to replicate Fruity Pebbles in sour beer form. So, looks fantastic. It also has like see if you can see a little bit closer, but you can see that it has, you'll see it as I drink it, but it has the remnants from the fruit puree that I'm sure they're using. Let's get a nose. Dude, that is fucking wild. So, gimmicky beers, and listen, gimmicky can be an endearing term. It can be looked at as a negative. For me, gimmicky beers are fun beers, and sometimes they're delicious, and sometimes they're just that gimmicky. This smells like a gimmicky beer, but one that I'm going to enjoy. Why? As the kids would say, if Fruity Pebbles is one of their favorite beers, or favorite beers, I hope Fruity Pebbles isn't one of Fruity Pebbles is one of their favorite cereals, they might say it's the GOAT, right? As far as fruit cereal goes, like your Fruit Loops, your Twix, Fruity Pebbles, and others, It is the GOAT for me. I love Fruity Pebbles. I will always love Fruity Pebbles. It's just a sugary, fruity cereal. Like, what else do you need, right? So this smells exactly like Fruity Pebbles. Like, not the milk and everything, just the cereal. It's fruity, it's grainy, it has that twang that Fruity Pebbles has. And there's this underlying, like, almost like, if you ever, like in the summer, or mostly in the summer, when you get like if you get like custard or like soft serve and your local ice cream place does like dip, so you get like a cherry or butterscotch, it smells like the cherry dip you would get from like a local ice cream shop. Dude, this smells exactly like fucking Fruity Pebbles. This is insane. You know all those RAR beers I reviewed, and a couple of them are really tasty, a couple of them are drain pours, and some of the other ones were in between. Almost none of them replicated the cereal they were going for, in my opinion. Maybe like one of them came close. This smells exactly like Fruity Pebbles. Like, I don't know how they did it, but it smells exactly like Fruity Pebbles. Dude, this smells fucking wild. It smells like it's going to be sweet. It also has a tartness that you kind of know that this is a sour beer, but I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke up your ass and say, it smells like all this. It smells like Fruity Pebbles. Like someone put Fruity Pebbles into an alcoholic beverage. That's what it smells like. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. I don't know how they did that. Now, they say it's just brewing a raspberry and cherry. There might be other ingredients that they're not listing on the label. Maybe a little bit lactose, because the breweries don't have to put it on there. But it tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles, to a T, in 5% sour beer form. All right, body mouthfeel. Body's not super thick, but thick enough, like lower side of full. When you see beers like this that have all the fruit puree remnants on the glass and, kind of looks thick pouring out, I'm expecting usually a big full body, thick, syrupy, smoothie-like. That's not this, but it makes it more drinkable. So it does have more of a lower side of full, so it's a little bit thinner, but I think it works for what I'm looking for personally, but might not work for everybody. The mouthfeel, moderate carbonation. It's nice and spritzy. Still has a smooth, slightly creamy character going down on the second half of the palate, so mouthfeel is nice as well. The taste, I don't know what else to say. It tastes like Fruity Pebbles. Specifically, raspberry and cherry, which is what they say. But it has this omnipresent kind of cereal grain feeling that you get when you're... This is almost like a concentrated Fruity Pebble flavor into a beverage. Like the actual Fruity Pebble, don't combine it with the milk or anything like that. It's just the actual cereal itself in a sour beer. It's kind of wild. This is, I would say, more firmly tart than anything, not really sour, but it is very sweet. It's not cloying to me. I could definitely drink the rest of this glass, and I will, but I could see how some people might think this is a little bit too sweet for them. So it definitely leans sweet, but it does have a firm sourness. There's a little bit of like a semi-dry kind of feeling on the back of the palate. Actual fruit character here, a nice like tart cherry and a tart raspberry. But again, that Fruity Pebbles kind of feeling is unmistakable to me. Like on the palate, it's just there. 5% you can't tell. Yeah, this doesn't drink like a beer, but a lot of these don't and whatever. But if you're looking for a fun, gimmicky beer that's also quite delicious, this is the one to seek out, especially if you like Fruity Pebbles. They are now 3 for 3. Like Heavy Reel, as far as the sour ales I've had from them go, they kill it. They nail pretty much what they're going for. They've made other ones, like I've seen like the pineapple whip. I don't know if it was in this series or another one. They also do orange creamsicle. I got to try them all out because these are fun. These are really fun. But this is like a once every couple month kind of, thing for me because at the end of the day, I can't be drinking these every day. But this would hit really well at like a barbecue, or it's going to be 98 degrees outside in a couple days. Like I would love to crush a can of this ice cold. I know, Paul, ice cold in the middle of summer for sure. One more sip and I'm going to lock in a rating. I'm going to give this 2 ratings stylistically, like what they're going for and then my own personal preference. There is nothing wrong with this beer per se. So I think this is close to a 5 out of 5 for a Fruity Pebbles sour. Like they pretty much nailed the flavor profile. There's a little bit of an acidic, like a moderate acidity. I forget who posted, but somebody said that they like the acidity when it comes to sour beers. And I don't mind it, but I don't like it when it's too acidic because I end up getting heartburn later. But like a mild to moderate acidity is fine, which is what's going on here. I think stylistically it's like a 4.9 to a 5. I can see someone saying it's a 5 out of 5. Personal, it's going to get a bit lower just because the drinkability is not crazy for this. It is very one-dimensional or like two-dimensional. It's Fruity Pebbles and then the 2 fruit flavors. Not a whole lot going on, but if I'm picking up a beer that says Luvv Fruity Flakes, it's a sour beer, it shows Fruity Pebbles on the fucking label, then I'm expecting it to taste like Fruity Pebbles, and this tastes like Fruity Pebbles. So I'm going to give Luvv Fruity Flakes from Heavy Seas. Heavy Reel. I said Heavy Seas. I might have said Heavy Seas at the beginning. I don't know. Heavy Seas is the OG brewery from Maryland. Anyway, I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. This is delicious. Like, seek this one out. If you get Heavy Reel stuff, and yeah, check it out. Like, I can't stress enough how much this tastes like Fruity Pebbles. Like, it's fucking wild. Price point availability, little bit wonky here. I paid $7 at Chris's. I'd imagine 4 packs of this at the brewery or around the brewery in Seaside Heights is probably in that $22 to $25 realm. I don't mind paying $1 or $2 when it gets distribution. Would I buy this at $7? Maybe not specifically this one, but I'd buy others from them to try. It is pricey, but again, this is a rarity. This is a special treat. This is not something like I'll review 2 or 3 IPAs in a week or lagers or whatever. But like beers like this, usually once a week at the most, usually a couple times a month. So I don't mind paying $7 a can to try this out and enjoy it. It is what it is. And the availability, I have no idea with Heavy Reel. We do see drops from them here and there in the Buffalo, New York area. And yeah, I'm glad I picked this one up. So yeah, Jeff, I'm glad you seeked me out at the festival and mentioned the updated version of the key lime pie. And I would have re-reviewed that, but I didn't think it was necessary because it's already got a 5. It's delicious. I want to pick up something else, and this is also delicious. So next time I see something unique from them, I'm going to give them a go. If you're around Seaside Heights and you like these types of beers and other beer in general, go check out the brewery. I'm sure it's a great time. But yeah, I really do enjoy this one. So huge thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before or anything else from Heavy Reel, post in the comment section. Let me know. Like I said, 5%, you can't tell. I'm going to shut this one down, take one more sip, and we'll see you to the next one. Cheers.